Okay, so welcome to part two of if software engineering is still relevant in 2024. I think obviously leapfrogging off part one, there's obvious um, uh, push. There's an obvious push of why these things aren't relevant. There's an obvious uh, understanding that AI is becoming hyper efficient, but we also need to understand the democratization of or or I don't know if I'm saying that word right, but the democratization of tools of AI tools that are now relevant to software engineering and business engineering as a whole. So does it increase jobs if we have more people building more AI tools that need to be maintained, cleaned, updated and relevant to time? Like, does it? I think it could. I think it absolutely could. But the other side is it absolutely increases the barrier of entry for software engineering. It absolutely this last year of 2023 with less funding, but then more AI tooling has absolutely increased the barrier of engineering. And I think what it's done is divide it where the people who are good in software engineering are getting more opportunities and getting more opportunity and more pay and more this, that, the other because they're even more valuable. But the ones who maybe aren't as valuable, they're getting cut off to the back of the pile, if you will, because it feels like AI is just it's like this raising sea level that like, oh, if you're a junior dev like right here and AI is up here, AI is smarter than you, well then you're no longer relevant. So I do think there's certainly that going on where the barrier of entry increases, but I don't think it becomes less valuable. I think it becomes harder, it's more challenging, but I think inversely it actually becomes more valuable because if you're an engineer who understands how to navigate AI and navigate all these things and navigate serverless functions, Lambda functions, velocity template language on the backend infrastructure, and then also you can integrate that with your APIs, whether it's through GraphQL or TRPC or any sort of RESTful APIs, and then you can collect data from form validation. You could string a whole system together, right, very effectively, if you will, from front end to API integrations to your back end, right, to your database management or your data management, really. I think software engineering becomes less about like here's front end, here's like your middleware and API integrations, and here's back end. It becomes more of just like here's your system of collecting data and handling data. It, I think software is going to change as a whole. It's not going to be this like front end versus back end. It's just here's your system, here's your data collection system, and you're seeing it actually even in the software ecosystem. People are coming back to XML. People are coming back to server side rendered frameworks. People are coming back to um, kind of all the data existing together, even on one file, where it's less about the MVC pattern and more just about like here we can have server side components with um, mono repos that handle everything. It's becoming more common, and it's for smaller teams that are more apt than a larger team was back in the maybe 5-10 years ago. So it's certainly providing this interesting space, but I don't think it's something to run from. I think it's something to run towards. It's something to say, oh no, I want to actually emulate that. I want to build that in my own life. So if I was an engineer right now, and this is exactly what I've done, um, I wouldn't go to other companies to say, give me your value. I would say I'm going to produce my own value and become my own system. Because if you're an engineer in 2024, you're now the most relevant thing, in my opinion, because who knows how to operate AI the best? It's us. It's the engineers. So if that's the thing eating up jobs, whether it's marketing jobs, communication jobs, well, who's going to be the guys who knows how to navigate those things the best? Undeniably, it's going to be the software engineers. So if you can embellish your skill set to understand that that your engineering capability or software engineering scope of navigating software, if you can now apply that to business, you undeniably become one of the largest assets for the company or your own company or yourself because like I said in part one, you have these three buckets. You have like data or customer acquisition one way or another. You have prospecting in one way or another. You have your product, and then you have how you're handling those two things. That's your business tooling and business logic, right? And how you connect those systems, if you can now do that on a smaller scale as an engineer, what's more valuable? Like literally, what's more valuable than just saying, okay, I now know tools on how to acquire more customers for you. I know now how to build these tools so you can put them in a lead generation system that can put them on your product, your website, your landing page, your service, your this, that, the other. I now have a tool for this. And then if you also have tools for and then the knowledge and skill set and whereabout for the back end stuff, then yeah, I remain convinced that it's probably even more important to learn software. You just need to learn it faster, which I think is hard and counterintuitive because it's something that takes time to learn. But I'm thoroughly convinced that the engineers who become quote unquote this business engineer, if you will, I'm thoroughly convinced that we are going to be the most valuable things to businesses and companies for the next 2 to 5 years, um, because we're the first barrier of people to interact with AI and these things. Um, so is it still relevant in 2024? I think so, absolutely. It's just yeah, you need to find a good teacher, you need to find good information, and you need to find good opportunities for yourself for sure. But I think it becomes even more important